continue to follow the suspect because of how erratically he was driving, and it is safer to just let him be. So we will continue to follow the situation here as it unfolds and as the suspect continues driving at relatively slow speeds as he continues southbound here on Vermont, just south of Exposition. Okay, pursuit continuing here at Vernon on Vermont. He's blocking the intersection there, and he's going to be making his way through, and he's going to be making a turn onto Vernon. He's just on the other side of that building, trying to talk to the man there that is standing on the corner. He's on Vernon. He just made that turn from Vermont, and I'm trying to figure out again if they're still calling this a pursuit. There is an airship overhead. It's the LA County Sheriff's helicopter, and I'm hearing that the LAPD ship is also overhead. However, there are no units behind the car. The Sheriff's Department canceled the pursuit after the California Highway Patrol took over, and now the suspect making a turn here. He may be coming to a, nope, I thought maybe he would come to a stop. He slowed down significantly. The pursuit was handed over to the California Highway Patrol. They also canceled, but now I am hearing over the police scanner that the Sheriff's Department is actually asking to see if they want to re-engage some of their units in this pursuit, but for now it sounds like it will be a pursuit or at least a surveillance mode from the air only, since there are no units behind the suspect's car. And for those of you who are still tuning in, we're just having to communicate here with the tower to get permission to get in their airspace. But the pursuit's continuing here in the South LA area. We last saw it here near the 110 freeway, just east of the 110 freeway. So we're waiting to get the next cross here as we approach the scene. We've been able to get in to their airspace now here, so we're re-engaging here. Hoover and Gage. He's on Hoover, just south of Gage. It's always difficult when we're working in the LAX airspace because they have a lot of planes that are coming in to land at LAX, and we have to be at a very low altitude in order to continue to be in the area but not interfere with some of the helicopters, or rather the aircraft that are landing at LAX. But for now, we'll be able to continue to follow it here for a little bit until the tower says otherwise, of course. So we're continuing here, Hoover, south of Gage. A pursuit that started in the Carson area of a DUI driver, made its way all the way into Hollywood before proceeding back south, and now in the South LA area. The car is actually registered to San Fernando, so when he was going northbound on the 110 and then northbound 101, it appeared as if perhaps he was trying to head back to the San Fernando area, but he pulled off and instead decided to take surface streets and is now currently in the South LA area. Oh, yeah, let me do this, sir. There you go. It should change right now. Southbound Hoover through 83rd. See, I'm trying to get it to change for you. It's not responding, Jim. Sorry. Okay, he just made a turn. He's right behind us. About 6 o'clock. He's by the school with the pool. Southbound Fig from 87. This is going to be close. Wow. We're right on top of it. No worries. Perfect. Out your side, yeah. Okay, and now he's going to go under us yet again. Okay, he's going to be right next to the 110 freeway. It looks like he's going to go under the 110 freeway. For those of you who are just joining us, this is a pursuit that has been going on for quite a while, about 40 minutes, possibly 50 minutes. He's going southbound Broadway from 82nd. We're in the South LA area. The pursuit going to be coming under us here in just a moment, but my pilot Jim doing everything he can to keep us from going right on top of it. This is a pursuit that started in the Carson area of a DUI driver. The pursuit made its way onto the 110 freeway, then the northbound 101, the suspect exiting at Sunset Boulevard in the Hollywood area. He took surface streets in that area and then proceeded south to South LA, which is where we find ourselves now. There is just one person in the car, described as a man, and that person is believed to be under the influence. Again, the pursuit right under us here for just a moment, but it should pop out in front of us here in just a second. Very close there with the spike strips. Just ran over the spike strips. The sheriff's department says that it was a successful hit. And again, we're right over it, but we will get into a better position here in just a moment. On Broadway through Century. You got him? Perfect. So now that he hit the spike strips, what we will see is that the tires will slowly start to deflate, and that will eventually make the car disabled and hopefully bring this pursuit to an end. During the course of this pursuit, we have seen this driver drive very erratically on surface streets and on the freeway. He was swerving all over the 101 freeway when he was on it. It was truly amazing to see that the traffic was so light and that he was able to just swerve into whatever lane he wanted to. But now here on surface streets, slowing his speed down just a little bit now that he has hit that spike strip. Now the car going to be coming at us right here, southbound on Main from 104th at about at about 10 miles an hour, with the sheriff's department close behind. We are over Main Street, but we're just hearing that the LAX tower is asking us to move. They're asking us to move east of this street because Main is the one that they're on. The one that they're on. The one that the pursuit is on right now. So you are east of it now, so you're good. Perfect. It's what we sometimes have to deal with up here. We, of course, have to communicate with the towers, and sometimes they will ask us to move out of the way, and that's exactly the situation that we're facing here. We were asked to move, and there are 7 helicopters over the pursuit total, so that, of course, complicates things a little bit with just how busy the airspace is around this pursuit. But continuing here, northbound Main through Golden, really no traffic, and the pursuit continuing at about 10 miles an hour. Let's see if it comes to a stop here. The Sheriff's Department, the units directly behind the suspect's vehicle, they say they see that 3 of the tires are flat. So because 3 of the tires are flat, we may see a situation where, again, the car may become disabled and this pursuit may be coming to an end. But for now, continuing here at about 10 miles an hour, just made a turn, headed eastbound on 95 Street from Maine. So he's now in a residential area that is east of the 110 freeway, east of Maine on one of the numbered streets, 95th Street. You see that there's some people coming out of their homes to watch this go by. This may be coming to a stop here. No, he just wanted to talk to those people. There were some people outside at that home, and he slowed down to talk to them. We've seen this time and time again during the course of this pursuit. He just kind of stops, talks to people who are standing on the corner, giving the peace sign there. And making a turn. He just made a southbound turn on Town from 95th Street. So he's still in what you can describe as a residential area in South LA, east of the 110 freeway and east of Main Street. He just made a turn on a Golden. He's approaching San Pedro. Again, a pursuit of a DUI driver with about half a dozen sheriff's units directly behind the car. A pursuit that started in Carson, what seems like about an hour ago at this point, and continuing here, though, on surface streets in the South LA area. The car is not reported to be stolen. It is registered. It is registered out of the city of San Fernando. So if the rightful owner is in the vehicle, typically what we see is that drivers tend to return to an area that is familiar to them. But this suspect is nowhere near San Fernando. He's instead in South LA, South Los Angeles, east of the 110 freeway. He just made a westbound turn onto 92nd Street from San Pedro. And making yet another turn, a southbound turn here on another residential street. This is Wall Street from 92nd Street. Still continuing at about 5 to 10 miles an hour, running on 3 flat tires. You see the sheriff's unit, what they're doing. They're keeping their doors slightly ajar because they're ready to jump out should this pursuit come to an end. So that's why you see that. Because he has slowed down significantly, they think he may be coming to a stop. Continuing at about 15 miles an hour southbound on Wall through Golden. Again, this is South LA. Your nearest freeway is going to be the 110 freeway. We're just east of that. 7 helicopters above this pursuit, a mix of media and police. It is a pursuit that has gone through several areas, including the sheriff's area where it started, went onto CHP's area when it was on the freeway, and then LAPD's area when it was in Hollywood, and now back in the sheriff's territory in South LA. He just made that westbound turn. The watch commander is asking for his units to go into surveillance mode. So if they do that, it means we won't see any units behind the suspect's car, and we'll just have the helicopter overhead continuing to monitor this pursuit. He just made that turn there onto Main Street, a northbound turn onto Main. Approaching Golden yet again. And the units in the pursuit have backed off. If I widen out the shot, you're going to see that means that there are no units directly behind the car, and that's exactly what we are seeing. No units behind the suspect's car. Just moments ago, we saw there was at least 6, and now no cars behind him other than the police helicopter overhead. There is nobody following this person. You can see what's happening with that tire. He is losing the entire tire thread there. Going to go down to the rim here in the next few minutes if it keeps going. And he's going at very slow speed here, but you see what some of the people in the area are doing. They're coming out, they're on their cell phones, taking video, documenting this for their own social media, this pursuit that is coming through their neighborhood. We always advise against that. You never know what the suspect is capable of. We don't have any information to lead us to believe that he is armed. This is simply a DUI suspect, but he has acted very erratically, so you always have to believe that there's always the possibility that he could be armed to some capacity. But for now, the pursuit continuing here in surveillance mode. That means no units behind the suspect's car as he continues through streets in South LA. Very slow speeds here, and now a complete stop. So a complete stop here, and he's going to continue going. It seemed like that was going to be it. He slowed down completely, but is now instead turning back out onto one of the major streets here, and you see that the units went right past him. Not because they missed him. They know where he's at. They know who he is. However, they have been asked to go into surveillance mode, which means that they can't follow directly behind the vehicle. Now, you might be wondering why that is. Well, the thought process behind it is that if they get behind the car, the suspect may drive more erratically, and so doing so would endanger the lives of the general public and his own. So they believe that by pulling off and backing out to make it seem like they are no longer pursuing him, that he's going to slow down his speeds, he's going to stop running red lights. At this point, though, it really doesn't seem to be affecting him. He continues to drive exactly how he has been driving during the course of this pursuit, continuing to run red lights, continuing to just drive around in circles now here in the South LA area. He's 1 o'clock, Jim. And he's just making a turn, like right off the nose, between nose and 1 o'clock. He's on Wall with a cross of 97th Street. We've seen him in this area before. Perhaps this is oh, there we go. Let's see what he does. He's going to go in the alleyway. So he's now in the alleyway from 97th and Wall. And he's going to come out on the other side. You can see that front bumper barely hanging on there. And that tire almost down to the rim. He's got at least 3 flat tires after running over a spike strip. And I can't imagine that this car is going to be able to take much more than this. He's now on 95th Street from Wall. He took the alley to get to 95th Street and now back out on the major here. He's northbound on Main yet again from 92nd Street, taking that center lane to get by. Whoa, there we go. Just lost his rear tire on the driver's side. We may see sparks flying here shortly as he continues driving on just the rim. There we go, down to the rim. Westbound Manchester from Main. This could get tricky for us because it will put us back in the LAX airspace, but we will do our best to continue to bring you these live images of this pursuit making its way through South LA, westbound Manchester, coming up to the 110 freeway. Going under the 110 freeway, we'll catch him on the other side. There he is, just popped out under the 110 freeway. And he may be getting on the freeway here, guys. He may be getting onto the freeway. He's currently set up to go southbound 110. I don't know how long he's going to be able to do that, though, because he does have no tires on the driver's side of the car. The only two tires that he has that are in better condition are on the passenger side, and on that driver's side, he is down to the rim. But getting here onto the southbound 110 freeway from Manchester. And now that he is he's going about 40 miles an hour here. You can see that the driver's side of the car is starting to smoke a little bit because he is down to the rim on that side. We'll try to bring you that side when we can, but as you may understand, going through this area is pretty difficult because of the LAX airspace, so we will try to get you that other side when possible. But he is continuing southbound 110 freeway, south of Manchester. Coming up on Century Boulevard is the next major. Going about 45 miles an hour with just two tires left. The sheriff's helicopter continues to call out the pursuit, but now that the pursuit is on the freeway, the California Highway Patrol could take over. Should the pursuit go westbound 105, they will allow the units to re-engage because the airship will have a difficult time following it because of the LAX airspace restrictions. hear it now, Tim. Thank you. He's transitioning right now. Let's see. He's just on the other side of those trees. He's right behind us. Yeah, he's doing westbound 105. He's just completing the transition right now. There he is. So he's right out my door. Hey, Tim, what'd you say? $105, $110. We're gonna come right over it, Jim. He's right under us. But yeah, he'll come out here in a moment. He'll be out your side. Okay, 90 seconds out. And we're starting the show, Jim, in 90 seconds. He's westbound 105 at Normandy. Hey, Chantal. Okay, 10-4. We're probably going to be in Inglewood. Clear. Okay. Okay, perfect. Inglewood, guys. 105 and Crenshaw. Studio A, go ahead. Mike, level 4, News Chopper 4 Alpha over Inglewood, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. Yeah, Inglewood. Copy. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Carolyn, this hasn't been an incredibly fast pursuit, but it has been incredibly dangerous. He's currently on the westbound 105 approaching LAX, and you can see that on this side of the vehicle, on the driver's side of the car, he is down to the rim after hitting a sheriff's spike strip. It is a pursuit that started in the sheriff's area down in Carson, a pursuit of a DUI driver. Only one person in the car. The pursuit made its way northbound on the 110 freeway, then on the 101, where he was swerving across all lanes. Traffic has been very light. Oh, right here, they're losing control right there. Just hit the attenuator there. Lost control. Let's see what he does, if he's even able to open up the door. It looks like he's going to be stuck if he tries to get out on this side. I do see his hands, though, so this may be coming to an end here. His hands are outside of the vehicle. I will widen out just a touch, though, as this can always be a sensitive portion of the pursuit. But again, westbound 105, just south of LAX. The CHP is now the lead agency on this because the pursuit is on the freeway, but it was the Sheriff's Department that was initially in pursuit. They handed it over to the California Highway Patrol, a pursuit of a DUI driver possibly coming to an end here on the 105 freeway.
Amazing to see, and we're going to continue to monitor that for you at NBCLA.com and the NBCLA app.
All right, there is so much more we need to get to concerning the coronavirus outbreak. The U.S. naval ship Mercy is set to pull into port of L.A. tomorrow morning. 800 medical staff will be on board to treat non-coronavirus patients, so hospitals onshore can focus on the rising number of people with the illness. L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti and Governor Gavin Newsom will take part in a press event tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow, House lawmakers will take up that $2 trillion coronavirus stimulus package that the Senate approved yesterday. Today, President Trump urged the House to pass the bill as millions more Americans are filing for unemployment. NBC4's Conan Nolan fills us in.
The two-front battle now facing the nation, a deadly virus which has claimed more than 1,000 American lives and threatens to overwhelm the healthcare system, and the
of a DUI driver making its way northbound on the 110 freeway, then the 101, before exiting in Hollywood and then making its way south into South LA, and now over to the west side. We're just south of LAX. We are on the 105 freeway. You saw it live on our air. He hit that portion there at the gore point, the attenuator, and now he is essentially stuck inside of this minivan, a dark blue colored minivan registered out of San Fernando, not believed to be a stolen car. So we believe that the rightful owner is the person in the car, and this was simply a person who the Sheriff's Department thought was possibly under the influence. They tried to pull him over, but the pursuit was on, and he failed to yield, making his way onto the freeway, zigzagging across lanes, and then making his way onto surface streets where he ran every red light he came up to, every stop sign, stopping, though, at times to talk on people who were walking on the street or stopped at a sidewalk or intersection. But now you see where this all stands. His hands outside of the window, which is why I feel comfortable pushing in. We can see his hands, and as long as we can see his hands, we feel comfortable continuing to bring you these tight images here of this pursuit termination here on the westbound side of the 105, just south of Los Angeles International Airport. Again, you see units arriving here. We're just south of LAX, just on the 105 freeway. Virtually no traffic to speak of. We're very close to the 405 freeway. That's not going to be affected unless you're trying to transition to the 105. LAX, though, has been very quiet over the last few days, so traffic has been very light in the area. This is actually the second pursuit we've had end in this area over the last few days. We had one pursuit and at the end of last week in this same general area, and it was the same story then as it is now. Traffic very light on the 101 freeway, but were we under normal conditions without the quarantine epidemic, usually this would be an area that would be very busy with people coming and going to LAX. I'll push back in here to see if the situation has changed with this suspect. But you see that he's still trying to tell them that he is stuck. They, of course, need to be very careful about this. Should they ask him to get out of the passenger side, they, of course, need to take additional precautions because they would not be able to see his hands during the course of him moving over from the driver's side to the passenger side. Pretty much things at a standstill here. He's trying to communicate with them. They're trying to communicate with him. If they have a police canine, they will have that at the ready. But you see that the officers are getting their shields ready for the moment when they approach the car. I'm currently not seeing a police canine here on scene though, but they are getting ready with their shields to approach the car when they deem it suitable. Even after they get the suspect into custody, they're going to have to clear the car, and it's a pretty large vehicle. It's a minivan, so it could sit, in some cases, up to 7 or 8 people, so they have to be extra cautious about anyone else possibly hiding somewhere in the back. But as far as we know, it was just that one person on board, that male driver, wanted for driving under the influence. He continues to try to communicate with them, almost telling them, you guys come to me, the way that he's using his hands to signal to them. Putting out the peace sign. He's done that several times during this pursuit. He had his hand out the window, giving us the peace sign, giving the officers the sign. But he continues to signal that he can't get out through that door. They may have him climb out through the window. I've seen that done before in situations like this where the driver can't open his door. Or they could have him crawl out the back or the passenger side. But of course, time is on the side of the officers on this one. They're going to get everything in place before they ask that suspect to get out of the car. Eastbound 105 is also shut down, my pilot Jim is telling me. He can see it out his side, and he tells me that the eastbound side of the 105 is also shut down, but this activity, of course, on the opposite side of the freeway, on the westbound side of the 5, but it will be affecting both sides of the 105 freeway. So if you have a flight out of LAX, or you're coming to pick someone up, or you know someone that is set to take off out of LAX this afternoon, you may want to give them the heads up, let them know that this could possibly affect their commute so that they can start to look up an alternate route. Right now, again, traffic in the area not too heavy. You have the option of just sticking with the 405 and taking the 405 into or out of LAX. That is still wide open. But the westbound 105 and now also the eastbound 105 are going to be the two sides that are going to be impacted by this police pursuit termination. And look at this, about a dozen cars at this termination. And they're approaching the car right now with their shields, and they're going to take the suspect out the window. So as we thought, he is out the window. They are taking him into custody. He didn't resist, and we will see them handcuff him here in just a moment. He appears to be following orders as instructed. And in a moment here, you'll see another officer check the rest of the vehicle just to make sure that nobody is inside, possibly hiding in the back or in the back seat. And there's a look at the suspect. I'm going to push in here so we can take a good look at this individual. Again, a driver wanted for driving out of the under the influence, rather. A driver wanted for driving under the influence that led officers on a pursuit for over an hour, finally coming to an end here in the LAX area.